Ladies as well as gentlemen, Papa Boris is back for some more Hearthstone arena action. We just very recently had runs with Rogue and Warrior. It is Paladin time. Now, my last run with Paladin was a little bit embarrassing, so hopefully this time we'll do a little bit of a better job. Our rare pick is a very interesting one. So Secret Keeper, in theory, might work with Paladins. Because Paladin secrets cost 1 mana, so the Secret Keeper is the easiest to build, is perhaps easier for Paladins to build up than for other classes. Kind of gives me an idea for a constructed deck. That would be interesting, to play a Paladin with lots of secrets. Granted, most Paladin secrets suck, but in the arena, you know, Noble Sacrifice is the only kind of playable one because it's good on its own, but I imagine you could make a constructed deck with, like, Redemption being good, bringing Divine Shield creatures into play, or, like, Charge creatures into play. Or maybe like, what's another one? There's the one that makes a creature come into play with 1 health. That sort of sucks. What is the other Paladin secret? Oh, Eye for an Eye. Okay, well, maybe not. Arcane Golem's nifty, but we'll just take a Sunwalker. I mean, that thing is a brick wall. I find myself quite frequently praying to the Holy Lord Jesus that my opponent does not have a Sunwalker at 6 mana, so that's a good sign. That's a really good card. If you're always praying your opponent doesn't have it, that must mean it's pretty decent. Okay, so there's Repentance. I don't really want that. Argent Protector with the Divine Shield, that is great. We'll take it. Yeah. So the Hand of Protection can be good, but we'll take Argent Squire here. I like this a lot. It's actually, I think I've actually lost a number of games just because my opponent had this on turn 1 and was able to interfere with the extra damage off that Divine Shield. Okay, let's have a little conversation, you and I. Gurubashi Berserker is starting to really piss me off because it's actually, we've seen it on this channel on more than one occasion. It has died to a Stampeding Kodo. I think what's happening is basically the jig is up. People are realizing that Stampeding Kodo is a good card. People are taking it more often, and so the Gurubashi Berserker now is a real liability. It's 5 mana, and if it dies to a Stampeding Kodo, you just lose the game. So I have a new plan. I am not going to be taking this anymore if I have any kind of reasonable alternative. And, well, this pack doesn't really present that many reasonable alternatives. The Dalaran Mage isn't super great. Especially for Paladins. Oh, man. For Paladins, I mean, you can play it in Consecration. It deals 3 damage to everything. Sometimes you can play it in Hammer of Wrath right away. You know what? I'm going to say a naughty word. I apologize. Fuck the Gurubashi Berserker. We're done with that. We're going to take Dalaran Mage, and we're just going to call it a day. Okay, so I can take another Argent Protector. The problem if you take too many of these is you have a bunch of these guys and, like, nothing to Argently protect. So you have to be a little bit careful about that. I'm not a big fan of this taunt. It's 2/3 for 3, so like 2/3. Those are the stats of a 2-mana creature. So having this at 3 mana, it just dies to a lot of 3-drops and even a lot of 2-drops. So we'll take one more of these. We'll take one more, but we're gonna have to slow it down a little bit after that. Okay, Guardian of Kings. It's nice to have one of these in the deck. I could take one of these 2-drops, and they are pretty good, especially the Direwolf Alpha with the buffing. That's kind of nice. But let's actually grab it. Many a time have I wished I had a Guardian of Kings, so let's go ahead and not miss the opportunity here. Alright, I could take a 2-drop, but we're doing okay. I mean, these are not real 2-drops, it should be noted. Because you can't really play them on turn 2, but these aren't great. Yeah. We'll take a Fen Creeper here for some more fat and meat to our deck. So here when we have a bunch of chump trash, that's when we'll take the Direwolf Alpha for the buffing. Noble Sacrifice. Well, Paladins are light on removal, so we'll take the Wolf Rider here for quasi-removal. That seems fine. Okay. So, these are all reasonable picks, definitely, but I'm going to grab the Aldor Peacekeeper, because as I've talked about before, Paladins don't do great at killing big creatures, so the Humility Battlecry here on a 3/3 for 3 is very, very good. We'll have to take that here. Well, since I have the Guardian of Kings, that kind of reduces the pressure on me to take the Priestess of Elune. This thing just blows. We'll take the Noble Sacrifice. I wish the Paladin secrets weren't so predictable, but such is life. Okay, Humility is nice and all, but True Silver Champion, many have I lost to a Paladin running that. Noble Sacrifice, no thanks. We'll take a Frost Elemental. Here, this is very, very easy. The Dark Iron Dwarf is pretty much the only good card there. Now, we have to make a tough choice here. So as I've talked about, Humility is one of a Paladin's only outs against big creatures, but the Flesh-Eating Ghoul does have a really big impact on the game. I don't necessarily want to play Dalaran Mage on turn 3, because it just dies a lot of the time. I don't necessarily want to play Wolf Rider on turn 3, because it's just removal. I don't necessarily want to play Outdoor Peacekeeper on turn 3. Right now, I really don't have anything I'm just going to play on turn 3, so getting a creature there is nice. Alright, I have seen a lot of people use Blessing of Wisdom and get good stuff out of it. But I'm going to take Dark Iron Dwarf. I mean, this thing just wins games, and having 2 of them is really nice. Okay, well, I think the critical card here is Equality, because if I pick it up with Consecration, it and Consecration is a 6-mana 2-card combo that will save you from pretty much any situation, other than, like, the opponent's hero ability is about to kill you. It'll pretty much save you anytime, so we'll take the Equality here and hope to get a Consecration later on. Alright, well, Stormwind Champion I think is hard to pass up when you're a Paladin, putting those 1/1s on the board. Yeah, I mean, I only have 4 creatures here at 5 mana or more, so we'll take Stormwind Champion. That seems okay. Here we'll take a Frostwolf Warlord. That's a very, very big guy often. And Divine Favor is a touchy, sketchy card drawer. We'll take the Stampeding Kodo and hope my opponent plays Gurubashi Berserkers. Okay, now here we have to start really thinking, because I do have actually like a lot of expensive stuff. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 creatures at 5 mana or more. So another Frostwolf Warlord here would be greedy. Same for the Gurubashi Berserker. So I think I'll take the Thrallmore Farseer. Although I'm not a big fan of this card, I do have 2 Dark Iron Dwarves. So he actually would swing for 8 damage on turn 4, potentially. I mean, I think for mana curve reasons, that's the call I have to make. I'm not a big fan of it, though. Okay, so the Hand of Protection could be fun. I do have these 2 Argent Protectors, so if you have too many of these Divine Shield effects, then you might run into trouble. You don't have anything to protect. I'm actually going to go ahead and grab the Raid Leader here. Now, it may look like I'm really spiking at 3 mana, but as I've talked about before, a lot of these aren't really things I necessarily will be dropping on turn 3. Raid Leader is one of those things. You don't put this onto an empty board. You wait until you play it later when you have a bunch of your Paladins on the board, and then you give them all +1 attack and go to town. Well, this is getting to be a little bit of a top-heavy deck. So ordinarily, I'm actually growing to really like the Wind Fury Harpy. Ordinarily, this would be my pick here. However, I'm going to take Lord of the Arena because I'm actually low on taunt. All I have is the Fen Creeper, and that's it. So since I have this very slow deck, I guess I have a Sunwalker too. So I have a Sunwalker and a Fen Creeper. Yeah, just those 2. So since this is a very slow deck, I think it's important to go a little bit defensive rather than offensive. All right, Eye for an Eye is unplayable. Acolyte of Pain. Card draw. I mean, I don't have any card draw in this deck, but I think we'll take a Mogushan Warden. It also dies to Stampeding Kodos, but it's not quite as ball-breaking because it's only a 4-mana creature rather than a 5-mana. And I do need some protection if I want to survive into this late game. Okay, well, we could use some more early drops. I mean, at the moment, Direwolf is not the greatest thing in the world to play on turn 2. So we'll play the Bloodsail Raider. The Blessing of Might could be handy, but the Bloodsail Raider gives me some early plays to slow down my opponent. So I could take a Spiteful Smith. I mean, I have the combo with the True Silver Champion, but mostly this is just for the stats. However, I have a lot of stuff here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 cards are 5 mana or more, and a lot of them are 6 or 7. We'll take the Blessing of Wisdom here and get some card draw, because we currently don't have any. Well, I would actually have taken another Blessing of Wisdom, but Consecration is very, very important for me with my slow deck. Okay, well, here, Lay on Hands I just consider too expensive. It's just too tricky. Faceless Manipulator can be good. That would mean 9 of my cards are 5 mana or more, almost a third of my deck. This guy, I mean, sometimes he will randomly win you the game, and it is a combo with the Argent Protector. I'll try it. I think I would have otherwise taken the Faceless Manipulator, but I have enough big stuff. Let's keep my mana cost as low as I can. True Silver Champion, hooray! And then try to see if we can pull out a combo here with one of these 2 Argent Protectors and the Blood Knight. Okay, so here, Holy Wrath is 2 RNG for my taste. I could take a second Equality. The problem is that 2 of them is really bad. I've already got 1. But the upside is that it makes it more likely that I hit my combo with Consecration. But I'm actually going to grab Mana Wraith here. I think, given how this deck turned out, with so much expensive stuff, the way it seems like I'm going to win this game is by creature play, just playing lots of expensive creatures. But in order for that to work, I need to have board control, and I need to keep things relatively even until we get to the late game, and my, hopefully, optimistically, superior cards are able to overrun what my opponent is playing. So the Mana Wraith, I think, was an important final pick, because if I play it on turn 2, it stops, or it slows my opponent down potentially for a long time. And in Hearthstone, slowing down your opponent by a single turn, just having a creature come down a single turn later can make all of the difference. Okay, well, what I'm going to do here is I'm actually going to pass back the raid leader. I'll definitely keep the True Silver Champion for some control in case my opponent gets a really fast start. The question is, do I keep the Dark Iron Dwarf? And the answer is yeah. So hopefully I can get one of my recruits to stick early on. This is a very, very slow start here. But I'll just be content to play recruits on turn 2 and turn 3. And then hopefully I can play the Dark Iron Dwarf, buff a recruit, and kill something that he's played. Keep in mind I am the first player, so unless he coins out a 4-drop, I will be on turn 4 playing this in response to his 3-drop. So that'll be nice. Now if that doesn't work out, then I'll just have True Silver Champion to kill things the old-fashioned way. Interesting choice. My opponent coins out a recruit. I don't believe that a recruit is actually worth it to spend a coin unless you have a very particular plan, such as, let's say you're holding a Direwolf Alpha and you're hoping your opponent plays a 2-drop that has a 2 power. Aha, so I see. So the reason my opponent did that was he was planning to put a Divine Shield on it and then kill my guy for free. So he's starting to get a little bit of an edge. Well, let's take a look. Can I play the Thrallmore Farseer? I think I could. I mean, it technically trades against both of those guys. The alternative is just to play this and then see if I can land a Consecration next turn. Nah, we'll do this guy. It's fine. So if my opponent has tricks up his sleeve, he's already used a coin, so no Hammer of Wrath or True Silver Champion for him. I'm going to get to actually kill off this 2-drop. We'll see. Uh-oh, that doesn't look good. Blessing of Might. Well, so he's basically using a Recruit and a Blessing of Might to kill off my creature. And then he's playing another creature. Fair enough. Argent Squire, you are late to the party. So the Dark Iron Dwarf has a problem because his battle cries give a minion, not a friendly minion, so I'd have to buff one of my opponent's creatures to do this. Consecration just kills the Protector and a Squire, which end a Recruit, which really blows. True Silver Champion kills the Protector, but I'd like to get a creature on the board, so I'm actually going to do this and that. My life total is actually kind of high. My opponent has been sort of winning these exchanges and keeping control, but he hasn't been putting anything big onto the board. So right now I've got this, which is somewhat likely to survive, and then I can use the Dark Iron Dwarf to pump it up next turn. Okay, so my opponent is continuing to press the advantage here. He's going to do that, and it is not going to work out well for him. Now, oh god, can I use Kodo? I was going to use Consecration. It'll kill the Protector and the Recruit. Take this down to 1 health, my Squire can finish it off. Is the Kodo better? The Kodo kills this Recruit. This thing is a 3-2. Yeah, we'll just use, well, let me think about that. Indeed. No, you know, let's just kill this stuff. This seems fine. So, I mean, yeah, that seems really good, because now I can play Sunwalker. Sure, Paladin has answers to Sunwalker, but I mean, that's really darn good. Okay, another option would have been to play Frost Elemental, but I think here... let me think. There's actually a lot of good options. Let's take a look at what I draw that might change my opinion. Argent Protector, huh. So the issue, one thing I'd like to do is I'd like to play True Silver Champion and then just kill the Imp Master. Or I could play the Kodo, 1 in 3 chance of killing the Imp Master. Or I could play... no, I can't do Dark Iron Dwarf and the Argent Protector because the Dark Iron Dwarf has to buff something. Okay, I could just play the Sunwalker here. So my opponent could easily pop the Divine Shield and then it's just a Chillwind Yeti. This is a 5-5 rather than a 4-5. And I could freeze. None of this stuff is worth freezing, is it? Huh? Ugh. He's just gonna try to overrun me with 1/1s. Well, so be it. We'll do this and we'll see what happens. So a Paladin's main out against anything really is humility, but I don't care if this thing gets humiliated because all this stuff has only 1 health, so that seems fine to me. Let's see what he's got. He's gonna silence. Well, this is still a Chillwind Yeti. Oh my god. Ugh. Well, True Silver Champion is extremely good. Okay, and he is just gonna try to overrun me with 1/1s, it seems like. So he's basically trying to keep me from keeping anything on the board, and using that to build up an army here. Well, I think it's time to play the Kodo. Kill something, and then we're gonna put a Divine Shield on the Kodo. Make it a threat to be reckoned with. I'm really, at this point, just trying to get rid of this Imp Master, because these Imps are insane. We'll see if my opponent has big plays, because he's played nothing but little chump all game, so if he continues that trend, he's going to be in trouble. Wow. Well, wow. The War Golem, that'll do her. That'll do her. Spent a lot of resources there, killing off my Kodo, and the weapon's finally gone. And then the Imp Master... Alright, I'll get to kill the Imp Master this turn, finally. Jesus. Okay, so I think... the Lord of the Arena, actually, that I just drew is a decent play, but even better is the Frost Elemental. We're going to freeze off that thing. Going to kill off the Imp Master Menace. Going to make a recruit. Now we're starting to get back in the game. Now my opponent's best play here would be a silence for his own War Golem. War Golem has no text, so silencing it doesn't hurt, but it would get rid of the freeze and allow him to kill off my Frost Elemental or just attack me. He's got an Aldor Peacekeeper, so my 5/5 is now a 1/5, and he's got a Harvest Golem, so he's got lots of good, lots of like cheap junk, and then the 7/7, which is of course a bit of a problem. So I was really hoping I could buff this with a Dark Iron Dwarf and then use that to kill the War Golem, but such is life. And I actually now I'm in a pickle because yeah, I don't have any silence in this deck, so I don't have any way to get this back. I could play a Wolf Rider that'll kill off the Aldor Peacekeeper. I could kill off the Recruit, but the 7/7 is sort of a problem. I mean, I could play this guy. Then the 7/7 would have to run into it, I suppose. And I got, what, 3 mana left for Wolf Rider? Okay. I think we'll do that. So we'll do that. Play a Wolf Rider. So my quasi-removal is doing good things for me here. We'll do that. And then we're going to run a Recruit into the War Golem, so that now the War Golem trades against the Lord of the Arena, and the Lord of the Arena cannot die to the Harvest Golem without some help. If my opponent had a Blessing of Kings here, this would be a 6/7. It would really kill the Lord of the Arena in a profitable way. And then it would even actually survive with 1 hit point. I would probably lose the game on the spot if that were the case. Consecration, is that going to be enough? I don't think so, because the Golem doesn't quite deal enough damage to kill the Lord of the Arena after the Consecration, so I'm not sure what the point of the Consecration was. Ah, the point of the Consecration was that now the Lord of the Arena dies to the Fen Creeper. Previously, the Lord of the Arena could kill the Fen Creeper and then live to tell about it. I see. I see. Well, I think what we need to do then is the following. Let's take a look here. True Silver Champion. Yep, we're going to play True Silver Champion and Dark Iron Dwarf. So what this allows me to do is trade this Frost Elemental and 1 tick of the True Silver Champion against the Fen Creeper, make a Recruit, and this will finish off the Golem. Now, I could attack for 6 damage and get cheeky, expecting my opponent to trade, but the problem is then if he gets a single buff on the Harvest Golem, it'll kill my damaged Lord of the Arena, and then this thing wreaks havoc on my team. So we're not gonna be cheeky, we're just gonna play it safe. It's actually really, really good that I took Lord of the Arena over the Wind Fury Harpy, because the Wind Fury Harpy would not have cut the mustard there. It would have just been a Chillwind Yeti. Alright, Mad Bomber. Hopefully it doesn't kill my Recruit. God darn it. I really needed that Recruit. I really needed that Recruit to kill off this Harvest Golem after it spawned. Okay, well that's it. That's all my opponent's cards. That's the good news. The bad news is that I don't actually have that many cards myself. I have another True Silver Champion, which is nice, I suppose. But this thing's gonna hit me kind of hard. Well, the Fen Creeper does not quite hold up, but I think I have to play it here. I don't need to run my Dwarf into this Snake. I think the Snake needs to be killed with True Silver Champion to prevent my Fen Creeper from just dying. Right, almost missed that play. Let's go ahead and kill off that Golem. And we're just trying to put as much stuff on the board as possible. We'll save the True Silver Champion for the following turn, and we'll call it a day. So, what's going on here? Well, he's got a 7/6, and he can actually use it to kill the Fen Creeper, use the Damage Golem to kill off my 4/1, Use the Mad Bomber to kill off my 3/3. He'll have a 7/4 versus my 1/1. And plus whatever this card is. I'll have True Silver Champion plus whatever my card is. Well, it's anyone's game. Let's see what he's got. Frost Elemental. That's actually interesting. God darn it, man. He had such good stuff early. And he also has a really good late game. So, curse everything. He's actually going for me now. I'm taking a lot of damage. I mean, I could use my weapon to kill off these big things, but I'm losing a lot of health in the process. Well, I think actually this is more important to play than the True Silver Champion right now. Because the health is nice. I can still make a recruit. I can kill off one thing. And this 5/6 actually holds up pretty well here. So basically right now, just with what I have on the board, with discounting my opponent's potential for really great top decks. Oh, thank God, that's like the worst card in the universe. So I'm really glad that my opponent has junk instead of anything useful. Basically, the 5/6 owns his 5/5, and the 4/1 kills his 7/3. So he can kill my 4/1 with his 5/5, but then my recruit finishes off. He's going for the race, which is fine by me. So by going for the race, what my opponent did is he basically ceded, kind of control of the situation to me. So now I can just do this. Yep, I'll do that. I'll do this. I'll play True Silver Champion. Kill the 1/2. I'll kill off his recruit. Make a new recruit. Play Noble Sacrifice. Well, it's interesting. I mean, my Guardian of Kings is awfully damaged here. God, I'm so glad I drafted this. It really helped. I'd be at 7 health if it weren't for him, which is pretty scary. I have a Noble Sacrifice protecting my stuff. He drew the Consecration. Of course he did. Of course he drew the Consecration, because why wouldn't he draw the Consecration? Alright, this sucks. It means that my Noble Sacrifice is going to just be wasted on a recruit. Now, either I let the Noble Sacrifice get wasted on the recruit, or I let the True Silver Champion get wasted on the recruit. That's a good question. I think I'd actually rather waste the True Silver Champion on the recruit, and the reason for that is I really shouldn't be hitting creatures anyway, given my life total. And the Noble Sacrifice can really make a big difference. If he drops like a big creature, then having the Noble Sacrifice stop it from killing my Warden will buy me a lot of time. Hammer of Wrath. It's gonna hurt my guy and draw a card. That's a reasonable play. I might have considered actually killing my recruit, but it's a reasonable play either way. Frostwolf Warlord, that's a really good drop. Don't let Paladins keep creatures on the board. I will pass the turn. So I have a 7/7. That's good. Even if this gets silenced, it'll still be a 4/4. My opponent has his own Guardian of Kings. And he's up to maximum health. However, he seems to have a dead card. He's been holding on to this for a couple of turns now. And I can just keep making things. We'll actually kill off this thing. Do I want to take the time to kill this thing off? Nope. I'm actually just going to do this. I've got a Noble Sacrifice, which is going to take a chomp out of this Guardian. It'll become 5/4, and then the Flesh-Eating Ghoul can trade into it. Uh-oh. Well, ball sacks. My opponent has a lot of endgame. He's played a lot of big creatures. He's played 2 of these. He had a Frost Elemental. He had 1 of these. This is definitely... I called it a chumpy deck earlier on. That is not what it is. Oh my god, he actually had it. That is terrible. Oh my god, that's so awful, because that stops me from easily killing off his creatures. You know, I never saw any Hammer of Wraths myself, so I'm going to call baloney nuts on this one. Well, we now need to kill the Guardian of Kings, so this is very important. This thing deals 7 damage, so it's going to kill my Frostwolf Warlord, so my hope is, and my salvation, is that the Frostwolf Warlord that I am holding on to is going to be able to trade against this 7/6. If my opponent has another Consecration, he'll probably win the game, because it'll kill off my Frostwolf Warlord, and then this thing will be out of my reach. Oh my god. You know, I have one in here. I have 10 cards left. One of them is an Aldor Peacekeeper. So it's in here. I can actually do the same thing to his creature that he did to mine. Hey, there it is. Alright, so we'll just do that. Doink. I think it's really important that I get rid of his creatures, being as I am at 12 health. Alright, so we're starting to get down there. Does he still have a dead card that he's been holding on to? He's actually drawn 3 more cards than I have because of those Hammer of Rats. Oh my god. You've got to be kidding me. Ugh, what a load of nonsense. So my opponent's 3-5 and 4-4 are actually beating my 3-3 and a bunch of 1-1s. This is a load of baloney nuts. This whole game. Argent Protector, that is actually handy. What's more dangerous, a 3-5 or a 4-4? I guess the 4-4. So we'll protect my 3-3. We'll pop the Divine Shield. Pull off the Recruit. And I'll swing for 1. I mean, I'm getting hit for a third of my life each turn here. A true silver champion would win my opponent the game. He's getting low on cards, but it's very unlikely at this point that I'll actually be able to burn him out on fatigue. It's unlikely that I can survive this stuff plus an extra 4 cards. My god. If I lose, I mean, I'm set to lose this game, but my opponent has done a lot. I mean, he played a lot of chump, then he played a lot of the late game. He had all the perfect answers to my stuff. He's drawn lots of cards. And he's a paladin, so he gets to keep on making those recruits. I need something good. Blessing of Wisdom. So the issue is that I have to deal with this. I mean, they both deal 3 damage. I guess this thing's easier to kill off. This thing's drawing my opponent cards. Okay, here's what we're gonna do. Gonna put the Blessing of Wisdom on that guy. And I'm gonna use him this turn to kill off that recruit. Mana Wraith. That is not the hero that Gotham needs. Well, we have no choice. We're gonna have to pop the Divine Shield. Kill that Scarlet Crusader. And I don't like getting hit in the face for 3 damage against a Paladin who has True Silver Champion and Hammer of Wrath available to finish me off, but it's the only option I've got. So he has lots of cards. I think that's the game.
I'm almost out of cards.
And it looks like he's got the way to deal 3 more damage. Wolf Rider. Oh my god. God, that game was annoying. So yeah, my opponent, I mean, he had the right cards at the right times. What really sealed the deal was when he had Hammer of Wrath for my Flesh-Eating Ghoul. That would have allowed me to easily kill off one of his big creatures, and then I would have been totally fine. Alright, well, we're starting the arena off with a loss, but I have faith in this deck. It put up a strong fight against my opponent. He just had... I mean, he honestly... I know I'm going to sound like a whiner, but he just had better cards than I did. I mean, he played multiple Hammer of Wraths when I saw none in the deck. He played, I think, if I'm not mistaken, 2 Consecrations. I could be wrong. Maybe he just played the 1. But I believe he played 2. He played like at least 2 Outdoor Peacekeepers. I only saw 1. So I mean, he had all the goods. Rizeyu the Druid. All right. Well, I'm still kind of in the mood from my previous arenas. I'm just happy to see anyone other than mages. We'll do the same thing we did before. We'll keep the Dark Iron Dwarf. Hope one of our recruits can stick. I'm gonna try to buff it up. Oh well, this is even nicer. The Direwolf Alpha, not my favorite thing to play on turn 2, but then again, my deck doesn't really actually have that many good creatures to play on turn 2. Just kind of onto an empty board. Ugh, man. So both my opponents so far have had a coin play. Looks like he's just going to play a Panther. So... either I think I have to do this. Either I play the Wolf and throw away the buff, or I play the Argent Protector and throw away the Divine Shield. It's a tough call. I think the Wolf is a little bit less valuable than the Divine Shield is. So we'll see if that proves to be a good decision or not. Last time I played Paladin, it was an all-in-one video, because it went that badly. We'll see what happens here. Cult Master. Well, all things considered, that's not the scariest thing my opponent could have innervated. I mean, it gives him a card, but I'd much rather see that than like a Chillwind Yeti or something. This is a turn too late. This would have been awesome on my last turn. You know, in fact, if I had mulliganed the Dark Iron Dwarf, then yep, if I had mulliganed the Dark Iron Dwarf, I would have seen this and I would have had it to play next turn. Then the Panther still would have killed it, but I'd still have the Wolf in that case. Well, my opponent's off to a really good start. Alarmabot. Okay, that's encouraging. This card is just terrible. I mean, it's always possible, of course, that my opponent's gonna, you know, whatever, drop down something stupid. But, gosh, should I respect it? I'm not gonna respect it. I just actually have so little respect for the Alarmabot. I will just, let's see, make a recruiter, make the Bloodsail Raider. I think the recruit is fine here.
Reporting for duty. My shield for Argus.
Look at that junk. Look at that junk. I feel like Alarmabot in the arena is just no good. Even in constructed, I mean, you can put a lot of big creatures in your deck, but then if you don't draw Alarmabot, you're just gonna have a super slow start. So I don't know. I just don't really like that card. I think it's bad, and I'm happy to leave those alone. I'm sure that because I have that decision of leave Alarmabots alone, that I will lose some games because of it. But so be it. I don't really mind. Okay, well, this guy's on borrowed time because the Druid hero ability will finish it off at any point. So now is the time for the Dark Iron Dwarf. I'm actually not going to play Noble Sacrifice, and the reason for that is that the Druid with the hero ability actually attacks. So when he attacks, it will actually flush this out. Actually, Noble Sacrifice is just really bad against Druids and Rogues for that very reason. But even though I had 1 mana left over, I didn't want to just play it. If my opponent like has nothing to do on his turn, I don't want him to just get a freebie flushing of the Noble Sacrifice. Now granted, the Druid will always have the option to flush out Noble Sacrifice. However, at least if there's creatures on the board, there's like a chance he'll just, you know, play stupidly. Okay, what we'll do is very straightforward. We're just going to play the Sunwalker, and we're going to kill the Knife Juggler, because that's the creature that's actually good. The Sunwalker is protecting the Dark Iron Dwarf from the hero ability. So my opponent gets the Boulder Fist Ogre, which he could have played this turn anyway. I mean, I guess he gets the Boulder Fist Ogre now and something else. I don't know. I just don't care. I really could not care less. Alright, he's going to, I guess, pop Divine Shield. You know, maybe it would have been good to have a Noble Sacrifice out here. Then it would have stopped the Divine Shield from popping. Now I will have to trade both these creatures in to kill that Ogre. Bleh, that does kind of suck. The Raid Leader doesn't make any difference. Stormwind Champion doesn't really make any difference. Noble Sacrifice doesn't make any difference. My opponent will just attack first to flush it out, and then the Ogre will still kill my Sunwalker. Well, now since I have nothing better to do, I guess we will just play the Stormwind Champion. And let's go ahead and kill the Alarmabot. Because there's nothing better to do in its stead. And we'll just pass the turn. Man, if my opponent weren't a Druid, this Noble Sacrifice would be so great. It could just stop the Ogre in its tracks, but because my opponent's the Druid, that's going to be a problem. I guess I could have played Lord of the Arena and, like, Noble Sacrifice, and seen if he had the balls to, like, run into my Sunwalker just to flush it out. But I bet he would have. This person seems to know what he is doing. Man, I wish I had a 1-1 in play. Maybe I should have done that. Maybe I should have, like, played something cheaper than this, and so I could have had a 1-1 in play, so I could then Raid Leader and then kill off the Ogre. Ah, he's going to heal up the Ogre. Alright, my opponent's going to go for me with those trees. I guess that's fine. I don't know that I care that much about that. I have enough health that I'm actually going to do this. It's a bit scary, sure. But I only take 4 net damage. And we'll kill off that. This thing, of course, getting the buff from the True Silver Champion is quite good. So that even without the Stormwind Champion's buff, it's, you know, 6-3 for 2 mana. That's kind of solid. So I'd say I'm ahead. I mean, I have a weapon, 3 creatures on the board, 3 cards in my hand, and my opponent has 3 cards in the hand. Is that worth 6 life? Probably not. He's going to bite me. I don't begrudge him that. That's 1 removal for 1 creature. Cult Master is just going to die to my Hand of Silverhand Recruit. Alright, my opponent's in absolute desperation mode. That is great. I could actually use the True Silver Champion to kill that, but no, we'll just use the Recruit. Swing for 4. And yeah, let's get some life back. That's the turn. So now I have a life advantage, card advantage, and creature advantage, and a weapon. So this game, I think, should be over. The Druids would need some kind of a miracle here. What if he had Deathwing? If he had a Deathwing, he could actually come back. Although I think actually I have the kill next turn, so he would not survive to turn 10 to play the Deathwing. All right, well that was an interesting start to the arena. Although the first loss was kind of demoralizing, I think this deck has a really good chance of going to the top, just because that Paladin had better cards than I did, and I still put up a really good fight. And that Druid win was quite strong. So, as always, I will play just the first couple of games in this first video, so that's for folks who don't have quite as much time on their hands as others. If you would like to see how the arena ends, please stick around. The rest of the games are going to be coming up soon, and if you enjoyed the video, please like and or subscribe. I'll see you in just